Hey guys, hold on a second. Hey. Oh, okay, I'll let him know. I'll let him know right now. All right. Give me 1 second, folks. Bear with me, guys. Give me a few more seconds. I'll be right with you, and we'll get the show started. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I had to actually get my niece to come and collect her sons. I have them today. Um, and she gets off at 11. So, therefore, I watch them until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hence the reason, hence the reason for me changing the start time of this live. I think I changed it twice. I'm not really sure. I think it was twice. Could have been more. But at any rate, we are here now. And I am wanting and ready to unpack. Let's unpack. We're going to unpack day 13 of the United States versus Sean P. Diddy Combs. I don't know how many of you are following this by way of other vloggers or just on your own in general. But in my opinion, this case is starting to really heat up. Um, Specifically due to like recent development and recent testimony. Um, it's definitely getting to a point where it's getting really interested. So, hold on. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Um, let's see. Give me 1 second, folks. My son just texted me. How do I look at that again? Oh, Lord. Well, here it is, right here. Notes. So, day 13 was basically a continuation of testimony from Diddy's assistant, Mia, who is testifying under a pseudonym. Basically, a pseudonym is she is testifying anonymously to protect her privacy. A lot of the other vloggers and media outlets have found out her identity. I also, I believe I know exactly who she is, but I'm not going to divulge that information because I want to definitely respect her privacy, to remain anonymous and not, um, divulge that information. Now, let's see here. Hold on. Why didn't it come up? Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. I took care of that. Right. All right. Hold on. All right. So we're going to hop into, excuse me, we're going to go ahead and hop into her testimony. And then I want to see, I'm going to try to figure out how to drop the link to see if anybody wants to have a conversation about it. But I have a few other things that I'm definitely going to go over with you at the end of her testimony. All right.
I never thought I could lose
So
weight.
we're going to get into it after this commercial break from YouTube. All right.
Innocent until proven guilty. Listen at your own discretion. Did you call the other employees family?
Yes, I was surrounded by them, and everyone referred to each other that way.
You dated an employee?
Yes, Matt, the sound engineer.
Were you and Matt able to hang out together normally?
No, we had an apartment together in New York, but we were rarely there at the same time.
Why did you go to South Africa?
Puff told me to accompany Cassie. She was shooting a movie.
What happened there?
Cass had caught Puff cheating on her with Gina. She was devastated.
What were her interactions with Mr. Combs?
They were on the phone. He was in Miami. Then she stopped answering the calls.
I'll read the blue messages. KK, Ms. Coram, and you read the gray. That's you. She wrote, PD wants to talk to you. Who's that?
Puff.
Audio call not completed?
I wasn't answering the calls, but I spoke with Puff. He threatened to kill me.
What else did he threaten you with?
He said he was firing me. He said I had to leave and fly back, and he threatened to kill me.
Ms. Coram wrote, I need to talk to her. Not sure what to do. He needs you to call him now, or you don't have a job. How did it make you feel?
Desperate, terrified, and really, really sad.
Did you answer KK's calls?
No, I texted back that I had been asleep. It sucks to wake up to this every morning. I'm being shit on from all sides. I'm in a f***ed up spot.
And what was KK answer?
She wrote, can you call me when you get a chance? I wrote, I'm having anxiety attacks and night fears.
About who?
Puff.
Who are these WhatsApps with?
Puff. I screenshot them. I've had other phones since.
What did Mr. Combs write?
If you don't call me in 2 minutes, I'm going to tell everything. You're fired. ABC and their lawyers, let's go to war.
What do you think he meant by tell everything?
He'd tell Cassie about this.
What do you think he meant by ABC?
I had written a show based on my life as an assist. It hit the press, the most I ever got. He was threatening to take that away.
Did the show ever air?
No.
What did he write now?
Call me now. Call me now. Now then, don't ever call me again. I wrote back that I'd been asleep.
Is that the end of the screenshots?
Yes.
What's this?
My email to Puff, then to KK.
What did you write?
I'm really sorry, Puff. You know I love you, smiley face. I paid for my own flight. It will cost to change it. I'm sorry to ask for the money. I'm sorry. I want to make sure you are good. At the end of the day, regardless, I love you.
Why did you send this?
He told me to return. Then he told me to stay. I couldn't afford the change fees. I told him, Cece says she really need me right now, but of course I'll do whatever you want. I love you.
Who is Double C?
Cass.
Why did you write that?
Because I worked for him. To him, that's all that mattered.
Why did you CC Miss Coram?
Because I needed an answer. I was in limbo.
When you got back from South Africa, where did you work?
The office in LA.
Did you have less access to Mr. Combs?
Much less.
Did it make your jobs easier or harder?
Made it almost impossible. I needed his okay for everything, but I couldn't get any responses from him.
How did it make you feel?
Defeated.
What is this?
A note for HR to me.
What was the date?
March 31st, 2011.
What was happening?
I was suspended without pay.
What had happened?
He came in and didn't see I had laid all the options out. He started ranting. I tried to point to the other options.
Who was this with?
James Cruz. He worked for Puff in like a managerial role. He asked for tickets. I wrote back, Puff is currently firing me right now. He wrote back, LOL. I wrote back, no, seriously, sad face.
What is this?
Email, D-Rock to me, March 25th, 2011.
D-Rock asked, what happened?
He went batch crazy about his shirt.
Where was Puff?
With D-Rock going to the doctor and some other errands. I asked D-Rock to give me a heads up before they came back, so I could be out of the way.
What did HR tell you?
Puff wanted me suspended without pay, and I was.
Mia, does this memo document the reasons you were suspended?
No. HR told me Puff said I was being insubordinate.
Did you get other documents like this from HR?
Yes.
How did they make you feel?
So sad that I did something wrong.
Did you continue working for Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Did you feel you could leave your job?
That wasn't a thought. I had tried to run away before and it didn't work.
Did you feel you could get other jobs?
Oh no, he would have made sure. I was scared of him.
When
Now, this is the prosecution, just so everybody's aware. This is the prosecution finishing up their direct examination of Mia, the former assistant. And I want you guys to pay close attention because after this video, I'm going to go over some of the specifics laid out in the government's indictment against Sean P. Diddy Combs.
You try to run away from your job. New Year's 2010 to 2011. Where were you?
St. Bart's.
Who was there?
Me, Puff, Kim, the kids, some others.
Where did you stay?
A yacht that Puff chartered.
What did Mr. Combs ask you to do?
To count the money in the safe. He yelled I was counting too slow. He chased me out and told me, "You better learn to walk on water like Jesus, bitch. Get the f out of here."
Whose job was it to count?
Security. I asked the crew to take me to land, but it was a hurricane or something. I hid on the 3rd floor.
Who spoke to you?
Kim. She tried to console me and said, "Don't worry about it." I saw Puff coming toward me. I ran and hid in the crew cabin.
Did the crew take you to land in a tender boat?
Yes, but then they got a call. I had to come back.
Were you able to leave the country?
No, my passport was on the boat. Puff's staff had it.
Did you go back to the boat?
Okay. I want to stop there and point out that she just indicated that she could not leave the country because Diddy's staff had her documents. I want you guys to understand and realize that that is false imprisonment. That equates to false imprisonment. She's an adult. Not really sure why the staff had to hold on to her passport or anyone's passport for that matter. But that equals false imprisonment.
Yeah, I was told to get in the car, to go on the plane to Vegas with Puff.
In the car? Could you hear Puff's call?
He was telling his chief of staff I needed to be suspended, making up a story. I didn't get to finish. He yelled, "Shut the f up."
You left Mr. Combs' companies in 2017?
Yes, I spoke with Brian Offit. We were editing the Bad Boy documentary. I was producing that.
What did Brian tell me?
That Mr. Combs wanted to end Revolt Films. The company was going away.
How did you feel?
I think I saw snot coming out of my nose for a while. I was worried. I had been told Revolt Films was the only company that had made money that year.
How did you feel?
That I had done something wrong.
What did Brian Offit say?
That they would work out severance, but it was the holidays.
Did you speak to anyone else?
KK. I had a little bit of time to horrifically process what had happened. KK said, "You're still working the documentary."
Did you?
Yes, until March or April.
What did you do after it?
Cried myself to sleep. I ignored all the calls.
Did you have conversations with Cassie after?
I could never tell who was with or without Puff, so I didn't respond. KK said Puff couldn't believe I would go against him. I had gotten an employment attorney. KK said Puff couldn't believe it.
Did you get paid?
After 9 months, my attorney proposed a mediation. They asked for like $10 million.
Who came up with that figure?
My lawyers.
Did you bring up the incidents?
A few of them. I feel that I was doing something horrible. I was breaking the idea of confidentiality, telling secrets. I felt wrong and shameful.
Did you bring up the fullest?
Oh no, I was going to die with that.
How much did you receive?
$200,000. My lawyers got that much too.
What was it for?
Bonuses I hadn't been paid and out of pocket.
Would you return the money to have this never have happened?
At this moment, the defense objected, but was overruled.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any other lawsuits against Mr. Combs?
No,
Did you contact Mr. Combs again?
when Kim died and when Andre Harrell died.
Did you tell him you loved him in these messages?
Yes, that's how I would speak to him.
Are you aware of Cassie's lawsuit?
Yes, November 2023.
Have you spoken with Cassie since the suit?
Yes, we talk a lot. Then we both hide from our phones in the depression thing. Then a few days ago, just personal stuff and I love yous.
Did you speak about your testimonies?
Oh no.
After the suit in November 2023, did anyone contact you?
Yes, D-Rock, he was like my big brother.
He said, "How are you?" What did you respond?
D-Rock,
Why all the exclamation points?
because I love exclamation points. And D-Rock, I understood D-Rock was no longer with Puff. He and his wife had a restaurant in the Poconos.
He wrote, I'm about to call you. What date?
November 30th, 2023.
Did D-Rock call you?
Yes.
What happened on that call?
At this moment, the defense objected, and the judge asked the prosecution to ask again. Then the prosecution said,
What did he say?
and then it was overruled.
He started with personal stuff. Then he said, the news is crazy. It wasn't like that. It was normal fighting.
Was it?
Absolutely not. D-Rock said, Puff misses you. He implied everyone agreed. I immediately thought, oh my God.
At this moment, the defense objected on the grounds of non-responsive. Then they went into a sidebar and continued after.
Where did D-Rock say he was?
That he just landed in Miami. He was going to be at Puff's. He was going to take care of Christian. D-Rock said, maybe you could say something.
How did you respond?
I pretended I talked to Puff.
Did you want to?
No, I was scared. He called me right after D-Rock.
How did you react?
I threw my phone behind the couch and ran out.
Why?
It was just so triggering.
Did you?
Now, why do you think D-Rock contacted her shortly after Cassie's lawsuit was made public? Do you think that D-Rock did that on his own? Or do you believe that he was sent? Let me know in the comments. If you're here in the live chat, let me know what your thoughts are. If you're catching this on the replay, let me know. Do you think D-Rock actually reached out to her on his own, or was it sent by Puff?
Hear from D-Rock again.
Yes,
What did D-Rock write?
that your boy doesn't want you to do anything, just to talk. I didn't want to. I just wanted it to go away.
What then did D-Rock write to you?
He wrote, I can't believe you're not hitting me back. It was February 22nd, 2024. I knew he wouldn't stop. So I wrote back. I was scuba diving all day and didn't have my phone on the boat.
Was that true?
No, I told D-Rock I called Puff, but there was no answer. I wanted to play neutral.
D-Rock asked, how can I send you something? What did you think he meant?
Money? I said no. I'm always ready to help y'all out.
He wrote, I'm allowed to send my sister a gift. Did he?
No.
What did you think D-Rock was trying to do?
Find out for Puff if I was a threat.
Did Mr. Combs text you in February 2024?
Yes. He said, call me when you have 10 minutes, love.
And this one, February 7th, 2024?
He said, I need my memory jogged.
Did you respond?
No, I didn't want anything to do with him. He was the person I was traumatized by. I knew that this was a front.
Was this the last message?
I think so. I got some.
At this moment, the defense objected, and it was sustained.
Do you work now?
No, I suffer from complex PTSD.
At this moment, the judge asked for a sidebar and then continued.
What are your symptoms?
Misinterpreting emails. Someone calls my name from across the room. All the feelings of getting in trouble come flooding back. I triple guess myself.
Who caused it?
Puff.
At this moment, the judge took a break. Then they came back and the cross-examination started.
Because of Sean Combs, you suffer a great deal.
Okay, now I want to make sure that everybody understands that up to bat now is the defense. And while they are having a female voice represented in this part of it, the defense actually utilized I would say, an attorney that is just, I think he's like second, like Jose Baez is like top of the line. And I think Brian Steele is an extreme close second, if not right in that bracket, because Brian Steele is very methodical, deliberate, and he draws attention when he's in that courtroom and getting to work. Okay. I actually enjoy watching him work, listening to his work, and how he actually attacks a problem. But I wanted to point out they do have a female voice here, but this is Brian Steele up to bat for the defense. I'm going to run it back a little bit so we can start right at the defense's cross-examination of Mia.
And then continued.
What are your symptoms?
Misinterpreting emails. Someone calls my name from across the room. All the feelings of getting in trouble come flooding back. I triple guess myself.
Who caused it?
Puff.
At this moment, the judge took a break. Then they came back and the cross-examination started.
Because of Sean Combs, you suffer a great deal, right?
Right.
Just seeing him call your number made you throw your phone, true?
True.
He made you do things that are unthinkable.
Yes.
Making you sleep in a room with a lock and coming in and violating you in the most unthinkable way, true?
True.
You said that Sean Combs' conduct was the worst thing that ever happened to you, right?
Yes.
Look at the notebook. I moved for admission 1702 to 1710. Mia, this is a social media post by you in 2013.
Yes.
It's your personal account. This is what you're doing.
Yes, my personal account.
You wrote, this is what we do when you are not around. I am Diddy, C-Rock, right?
Yes.
You tagged him years after you say he raped you.
Yes.
This is July 4th, 2013. Whose hands are those?
Cassamy.
You wrote rich as fuck and CC. Who is CC?
Cass.
What does CC stand for?
It's just a nickname.
Have you heard Cassie Combs?
Oh, that makes sense.
Here you say he got coffee for you, though, in Forbes list.
Yes.
You say he made you take against your will at Burning Man, but you post about it?
Right.
You posted a picture with him? A man terrorizing you?
Yes.
And this video depicting Mr. Combs as doctor delivering your baby?
It was a funny video. I was proud to be in it.
Mr.
Listen carefully to what Brian Steele is going in with, because he is questioning her claims of SA. He's questioning her claims of being fearful, as well as having PTSD due to her employment with Diddy. And he's doing it in a very calculated way. He's pointing out what the government brought out on direct cross-examination, and he's providing a picture that's contrary to what she shared during the first half of her testimony, which is that's really good. That's excellent, because the jury, that gives the jury an opportunity to say, oh yeah, wait a minute, what? Why is she still posting? But I am going to say, I love Brian Steele. But unfortunately for me, if I were sitting in that jury box, and I do consider myself, we are the 13th juror, it's not good enough. It's not good enough for a person who has somewhat of an understanding of Stockholm syndrome, of coercive control, of DV situations. A lot of people misconstrue DV as intimate partner relationships. You can definitely have a domestic a DV situation in a work environment. You could have it through family. It does not always have to be within an intimate partner relationship. So, I mean, I get where he's going with this, but I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough, because everything that he said thus far, and we're early on in cross, but I'm going to be critiquing the defense through this. But it's not anything, he's not presenting anything that would lead me to believe that her testimony under direct examination is impeachable, which means that it doesn't lead me to believe that she was lying. Her posting the videos and posting pictures of her and Diddy doing a skit or what have you does not mean that she was not SA'd. It does not mean that she acquired PTSD under his employment. You understand what I'm saying? But let's continue.
Combs' birthday is significant to you too. You did 2 shots with him, right?
Yes.
Alcohol overcame you, right?
Yes.
You believe you were drugged?
I didn't say that.
A person you really don't know put his mouth on your mouth without your permission, right?
Yes.
His hands up your dress and onto your person. Remember that? It was paralyzing.
Yes.
You wake up in a chair. You told the jury that.
I did.
But this message and this one, another same day posting, the anniversary of you being spliced by Sean Combs, according to your testimony.
I don't celebrate it as the anniversary of that, but his birthday.
What did you write?
Thank you for giving me an extended family for life. You're funny. I love you.
You're in a tutu next to Mr. Combs, right?
Yes,
He's holding his private part in his hand.
I guess so.
You were proud of Mr. Sean Combs.
Of course you post the great times.
You wrote, extended family for life. You are forever one of my great fans. This about the man who traumatized you.
I wrote that.
Who is your mentor and brother you are writing about?
Puff.
You did a collage. A lot of them are you and Mr. Combs. You picked out the thumbnails, right?
Right.
What did you write?
Who let me have my hair like that?
You are with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
Here you say, look, Ma, I'm in a billboard in Times Square, right?
It's a play on My Name is in Lights.
And this photo,
Me and Cass going to Istanbul.
did Mr. Combs have to approve both of you going on that trip?
Absolutely.
This photo,
We are in the Sprinter van on the way to Cass's club appearance.
where are you in this one?
The W Hotel in Istanbul.
What did you write here?
About Muhammad Ali's birthday with Puff. I took the photo.
You took one photo?
I'm sure I took multiple, but this was the best one.
This is November 4th, 5 years after you were spliced.
Yes.
What did you write?
Thank you for being my friend. Hashtag happy birthday, Diddy. Hashtag I'm so hot I'm throwing at myself.
And you have Mr. Combs shirtless in 2 of the pictures.
He's always shirtless.
Mia, you have said you were spliced so many times you can't remember.
At this moment, the prosecution objected, saying misstates the testimony, and it was sustained.
Have you met with the prosecutors?
Yes.
More than 27 times.
I don't know the number.
Do you remember telling them you don't remember how many times you were spliced?
I don't know if I phrased it that way.
This has ruined you, right? You are broken. Yes.
This was part of the way he ruined me. Yes.
You wrote, thank you for being the good kind of crazy, inspiring me every day.
I don't think people wrote bad stuff about their life on Instagram back then.
Why'd you promote it?
It was my job to promote. It was a cycle of ups and downs. When he was calling me his best friend, I wasn't afraid of him.
You weren't afraid of the man who stole your innocence.
At this moment, the prosecution objected, but it was overruled.
You have family
Parents, a sister.
and friends.
At this moment, the prosecution said, time frame, we aren't sure what that means, but they continued after that.
When you posted this, you still had friends.
I had no sounding board. I had to get permission to go to my grandfather's funeral.
The jury was shown an email with D-Rock. You could express yourself, right?
I reached out to him.
What's this?
My friends at Funny or Die. I'm in the video.
What did you write?
You know you are a celebrity when you are spraying champagne at Funny or Die.
What is this?
My birthday post for Justin, Puff's son.
And this one?
C-Rock promo. Hashtag.
You are in it with Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Do you ever say anything that Mr. Combs hated you?
Never.
Here?
Puff and Jimmy Iovine. Legends.
He's traumatized you?
Yes.
You wrote?
Watch Puff tonight on Fuse today. I convinced him to make a door on his TV set and call it the Diddy door.
You post a picture of the person who has ruined your life?
And my boss.
Who made you post this?
No one.
How do you forget about waking up with a man on top, having his way with you?
I was in fear of upsetting him. The moments other than when we were best friends.
How are you best friends with a man you say raped you?
Ask my therapist.
What did you write?
Fuck off patron. With a photo of Puff dancing with his tequila.
And in this photo, Mr. Combs is close to you?
Yes.
You are producing the show?
Funny or Die did it. But I was getting producer credits.
At this moment, the prosecution asked for a sidebar. Then they went to lunch and then continued.
What is the Breakfast Club?
The name of our camp, Puff's friends group still partying at breakfast. I was invited in once.
This message from South Africa. You hashtag this Diddy fan club?
Yes, it was run by a girl who shamelessly promoted Puff. She was so sweet.
He supposedly didn't you on his birthday, November 4th. How did you not mark that?
I wanted to forget it. I pushed it down.
Are you finished?
Yes.
You put aside, you say you saw Mr. Combs as your sister, your best friend, Cassie. You put it aside and post this.
Yes.
You wrote this.
Puff at iHeart.
What are you doing here?
Promoting Puff's appearance on Blackish. It's a comedy show.
Were you aware of the #Sign Me Too movement? That was a great movement.
Yes.
What are these?
Me and Puff at Burning Man, then on Blackish.
You loved Ms. Ventura? You meant every word on your social media account?
I didn't mean every word on my account, but I do love Cass.
What's this?
A pop-up shop for D-Rock's brand, Invisible Bully.
You promoted Mr. Combs?
Yes.
You're saying this is not the way you felt.
At this moment, the prosecution objected on grounds of argumentative, and it was sustained.
How about the "you are the best unicorn rock star alien"?
I was trying to say it's unique.
Who are the people in this photo?
Mama Combs, Christian, D-Rock, Fahim, Tron.
You worked through March of 2017.
It was confusing.
On December 6th, 2016, you were notified.
I was getting mixed messages.
What was this?
I was promoting the Bad Boy reunion tour. I was doing the documentary on.
I'm going to show you something. DX1700.
I remember this.
You did this?
It was nice of me.
You made this and gave it to Mr. Combs?
Yes.
What did you write at the top?
Puff. Sometimes life goes by at catastrophic speed. I hope on this day, I hope you can sit back and consider, I made this book of articles from 1991 to now.
Did you mean those words?
Yes. He'd said to me, I used to look at the world the way you do, but now that I've done everything, it was sad.
The man you say has ruined your life?
I can tell you what my therapist has said.
How could you do this?
It's called psychological abuse. No one did anything.
What could be more terrible?
At this moment, the prosecution objected, and it was sustained.
There are textbooks out there. It's called a relationship.
But you are not dating Mr. Combs.
Relationships are not limited to that. There were no streaming documentaries about this. No one flinched at his behavior.
At this moment, the judge asked for a sidebar, and then they continued.
Where is it that you confronted him and said, you have violated me sexually or otherwise? And he said, I need your help.
At this moment, the prosecution objected, but it was overruled.
After St. Bart's, I confronted him about his behavior, not the other thing.
You told Cassie she's a superstar and should get the money?
I don't remember that.
Aren't you lying about Mr. Combs' misbehavior?
I have not lied to anyone at all.
Isn't it true it did not happen as many times as you just said?
Everything I said in this courtroom is true.
Why did you make him the scrapbook?
Now, the questions that they are asking, that Brian Steele is asking right now, he just asked, is it not true that it didn't happen as many times as you said? That to me is not a denial of rape. That to me is, it didn't happen as many times as you indicated. You follow me? So there's not a flat out denial. There's not a resounding, my client did not do these things. It didn't happen as many times as you indicated. That's why I keep saying, what is the defense doing? They either need to phrase their questions in a more careful manner, or just don't pose the question. If you cannot create a question in a way that it gives plausible deniability or sheds innocence on the behavior that's being presented by the government, just don't even ask it.
Behavior, not the other thing.
You told Cassie she's a superstar and should get the money?
I ran it
I
back
don't
a little
remember
bit,
that.
guys.
Aren't you lying about Mr. Combs' misbehavior?
I have not lied to anyone at all.
Isn't it true it did not happen as many times as you just said?
Everything I said in this courtroom is true.
Why did you make him the scrapbook?
You could talk to an expert about sexual assault.
Could we hand the scrapbook to the jurors? Mia, let me ask you, how did you make this scrapbook?
I researched and reached out for archives
Archives in a library?
in his company.
But then you did all the work.
I did.
Did you make Mr. Combs a birthday video?
I put one together. I asked people if they wanted to send in a video.
I want to ask you about last 4 digits.
At this moment, the prosecution objected, and the judge said, just ask her if she recognizes her number.
I do.
Let's read these messages. I'll be KK.
My life is over. I might as well.
Call me back or I'm calling your parents.
I'm so sorry. I'm with Laura Gomez.
I'm not gonna say it and tell you you are.
The pain hurts so bad.
Who is Laura Gomez?
She was in HR at Combs Enterprises.
You start, I'm gonna kill myself. My life is over.
Yes,
You could have quit.
I didn't see it that way.
Why?
There's a pretty long psychological explanation. I was around them 24 hours a day. This is all I knew.
Why weren't you happy to be severed? Isn't this great?
Not then.
At this moment, the day ended in the Diddy trial, and that was the cross-examination and direct that happened today. Who do you think?
Okay, so based on testimony presented and facts shared with the jury, while I will say that Brian Steele did come out of the gate swinging pretty hard and heavy, I have to admit my point goes to the government. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm biased. I want you to understand something. The government is up to bat, okay? So I'm basing the point system solely on the government's evidence right now. The defense does have 1 point because one day, and I believe it was Brian Steele that actually scored the point because he grilled the security person, that security gentleman at the Intercontinental Hotel. And he kind of discredited him quite a bit, in my opinion, with the testimony that he gave on direct examination. So Brian Steele did score a point. But I mean, I think my points are kind of going towards the government right now because it's their case in chief. They are currently presenting. And I'm just marveling at the job that this Southern District of New York prosecutors are doing right now. They're doing an amazing job. I know a lot of people are like, well, surface level folks, of course, are like, well, why would you say that? You know, why would you think that they're doing such a great job? They've only talked about, you know, DV and wild parties and intoxicants, and you know, the devil is in the detail, folks. When they spoke about the trip that her and Cassie took to, I think it was South Africa, as well as Istanbul. And I want to say that Diddy was with them in South Africa. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, he was, because they ran out of their, wherever they were with Diddy. Cassie was flown out along with Diddy. And remember, she was getting abused and ran to her room, Mia's room, and said, you have to help me. He's going to KILL me, right? Above and beyond that, the government is not presenting that trip or that scenario simply just to show abuse. They are presenting that trip to cement their case for sex trafficking. Okay? The government is asserting that Cassie Ventura was nothing more than a sex worker to Sean P. Diddy Combs. Remember, I told you this on May 31st, 2025. That is the government's assertion, because I'm sure they're going to say it in their closing arguments. Now, that was the testimony for Friday. And I want to actually go over, let's see, hold on, history. I want us to listen to this video of one of Diddy's he's still a current signed artist. He's still signed to Bad Boy. But he had some interesting things to say. Chopper. He's an artist from New Orleans, signed to Bad Boy, and he's been working on getting out of his Bad Boy contract for a number of years. Now let's listen to what he has to say.
We heard about all the drug abuse and everything, but we learned that Cassie got beat up, allegedly got beat up because she wanted to go.
No, she would have got no, Cam. He didn't get beat up.
Well,
it wasn't alleged.
Well, I was talking about one specific time. So you know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay, I hear what you're saying. For sure. For going to the OVO Fest and then she still went. You know, what do you think about when you hear something like that?
I think at the end of the day that they were in, I feel like she was still gonna go to the OVO Fest because regardless of what, brother, she's still an artist. You know, so she still want to be a part of. Now her getting abused, that was different. I felt like Diddy is a control freak, and mind you, I'm not biased. I'm speaking from a street aspect and an intellectual one as well. I try my best to put myself in both shoes. From Cassie's standpoint, you hear me? Diddy, we all know Diddy was abusing this girl. Diddy was controlling this girl. Diddy was manipulating this girl. But at the same time, she still needed the attributes that Diddy had to offer. So I feel like Cassie's an artist, regardless of what. She's a beautiful lady. She's talented, regardless of how you try to shoot her down or try to make her seem like she's not. I was there. We're the same age. Cassie's an artist, and she's a talented artist. And she actually is a hit maker with the right people like Ryan Leslie. I just feel like Cassie was still going to do the OVO Fest is because she's an artist. She wanted to be a part of. She wanted to see it. I feel like Diddy was controlling. And I also feel like, I'm listening.
You don't think it's kind of fair for him to not want her to go to OVO Fest with Drake? And then Drake actually had some bars that were like aimed, it sounded like at Diddy.
You want to know something, Cam?
And they got a fight over it, allegedly.
He did get into a fight over it. Diddy made it seem like it was over the beat, but the real truth over there is it was over Cassie. You know what I mean? But this is the funny part about it. Before we continue, Cam, let me clear this up. Some people think I was just on making a band and that was it. No, I signed a deal after making the band. I signed $1 million deal with Bad Boy. So I seen Diddy off the cameras. Now we can proceed with that talk. I feel like, yeah, Diddy was being jealous. Of course he was being jealous. When you feel like in your mind you got one of the most beautifulest women at that era, I felt like, yeah, he was being jealous and controlling. You're right about that. I feel like Diddy was being a control freak, regardless of how that sounds. I think he should have allowed her to do what she needed to do as an artist, but Diddy didn't look at Cassie as an artist. He looked at Cassie like she was mine, and whatever I do with her is what it is, period. And I think that's what the conflict was.
You also got to think, he stole her from Ryan Leslie's. So, of course, he's not going to want her around any other artist because that can happen to him.
Correct. He feel like someone can steal her from me, right? And Ryan Leslie, he actually did my first single after making a band through Bad Boy South, which was Lil Daddy featuring Lil Wayne and Jody Breeze. Ryan Leslie, I feel like my opinion, Ryan Leslie had the best interest in Cassie than Diddy ever had. Ryan Leslie looked at it as a lustful way, yet as a business standpoint. Diddy looked at Cassie straight lust. So I couldn't even knock how he felt about it because Diddy didn't look at Cassie like a business. Diddy look like Cassie like I'm investing in her to be the best, to look by my side more than what Ryan Leslie did, as I want her to be great. I think Cassie made a horrible decision choosing Diddy, who lusted her fully, than Ryan Leslie, who looked at her as an artist plus lust. Just my opinion. So I can't even knock you on just how you feel about that, you know?
Hearing about everything, all this abuse. I mean, I'm sure you heard things or little things there and there. Did you have any idea of the capacity of what was going on at the time?
So he's basically saying that, and he knows Diddy on the back end. So I'm sure that he's familiar and aware with, the Diddy antics. So he has inside knowledge of Diddy's behavior, Diddy's perspective, and how Diddy actually approached the situation with Cassie, because he has direct knowledge. And he indicated that Diddy basically simply lusted after Cassie, and that Brian Leslie, her ex-boyfriend prior to dating Diddy, may have lusted after her as well. However, he respected her as an artist.
Yeah, it's because I was around it. So it was a double-edged sword, Cam, bro. I knew it was either gonna go one way or the other. I knew it wasn't gonna be, no in between with that situation. Like I said, Diddy lusted her, so he didn't care about her actual career. Diddy was just like, I'm just doing which was gonna make her happy, to keep it going, to lessen her. Ryan Leslie looked at it like, I like her, she's dope, but I want to see her be great, because I feel like Ryan Leslie had the best interest for Cassie than Diddy has ever had. And that's just how I feel about it.
You had said that you think that Cassie never loved Diddy.
No, I know she didn't.
Why do you say that?
Because at the end of the day, I think Cassie had love for Ryan Leslie, courtesy of knowing herself and knowing that the best interest was someone who really had faith in her. I don't think Diddy had faith in Cassie. Cassie knew that Diddy didn't have faith in her, but yet and still, Cassie looked at Diddy like an opportunity. From my opinion, bro, I felt like she looked at it like an opportunity situation. Cassie thought that she was smarter than the system, but you got to understand, Diddy has been in the game for more than 30.
I agree with him on that. And I'm not, throwing any shots at Cassie, but as women, sometimes, especially when we're young, we might put an idea in our head like, oh, this older dude likes me. Okay, cool. Like, he could, take care of me. He could do this for me. Like, that's actually, unfortunately, at times can be appealing to a young woman. But the reality is that the more age someone has on you, the more wisdom they have on you as well. They've been around the block probably a couple of times. So you can't run game on a player that's been playing longer than you.
5+ years. Diddy was never going to let you win over him, because Diddy has been in the game for a very long time. He's seen the uglies, the beautifuls, the good, the bad, the trauma, and the triumph. I don't feel like Cassie knew that Diddy was more advanced than what it really was, and she was never going to win dealing with Diddy more than actually dealing with Ryan Leslie. I feel like, just my opinion, it was a horrible decision to look at a situation as an opportunist than looking at Ryan Leslie like an opportunity, and that's just how I feel about it.
I seen you into the trial.
I did. I actually got paid to go to the trial.
Now I'm gonna stop right there because Chopper just said that he got paid to go to the trial. If anybody here that subscribed to my channel would like to donate to me attending closing arguments in New York, in Manhattan, please feel free to donate. My Cash App is $ Danny's Plate 2020. That is $ DANNISPLATE 2020. Because if you guys help me and assist me in getting there, I will go for the closing arguments.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, I wanted to clear it up. I didn't go to the trial because I was summoned or anything. I got paid to go to the trial just to see what was going on with the situation. I went to the trial because number one, I've been fighting Diddy for a very long time to get out of my contract. You know, I've been dropping buku mixtapes. I've been doing whatever I've been doing on different platforms.
Again, if you guys want to aid me and assist me in getting there for closing arguments, my Cash App is Danny's Plate 2020. So that's $ DANNISPLATE 2020. Doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter how large. If you guys want me to go and be boots on the ground for closing arguments and possibly the verdict, go ahead and donate. Because I was thinking to myself yesterday, like, I would kind of like to be there for closing arguments, because once closing arguments happen, they're going to tie the prosecution will tie their entire case together, showing where they have proven all of the predicate acts of RICO. And the defense will actually also tie their full argument together regarding why they feel that their client is innocent of all charges. So, and I'd also definitely like to be there in person to hear the judge's jury instructions, because this case is really complex. Believe it or not, a lot of people are just looking at the surface level, like this was a toxic relationship between Diddy and Cassie. Yeah, he was a jerk of a boss. Yeah, that's it. You know, there are a lot of bosses that are jerks. Like, you know, we've all had a boss that just got on our last nerve and had temper tantrums like a 5-year-old. But it's more than that. It is more than that, much more. So I'm really interested in being there for closing arguments and also being there for the jury instructions. So again, if you guys want to donate to that effort, I will post my Cash App actually on my community wall so that you guys can see it and, you know, a little something in the Cash App.
Oh, because number one, I've been fighting Diddy for a very long time to get out of my contract. You know, I've been dropping buku mixtapes. I've been doing whatever I've been doing on different platforms. But I actually wasn't out of the label. Janice Combs, which is his mama, you understand? She really run the ordeal. It's not really Diddy. A lot of people don't know this still. But Janice Combs, she really owns Bad Boy, and not really Diddy. Diddy made sure that he crossed his T's and dotted his I's. So Janice Combs is the real owner. So when I went to court, I thought I was gonna go face Diddy, but actually I was facing Janice Combs. I went to the trial because Diddy, he had to sign 3 paper slips to make sure that I'm out of the deal. He signed everything for my rights and gave me everything I needed besides my name, which was Young City. I'm from New Orleans. Actually, we're in New Orleans right now. There's a lot of chopper sales. Magnolia Chop is chopper style from across the river, and then it's me. My name on papers as an artist is Young City. So I say Chopper Young City because I've always been Chopper, but my name is actually Young City on papers as an artist. Diddy had to sign 3 papers. He didn't sign those papers, and I'm almost at my end with this civil, right? But he never did that courtesy of him going on trial and going through the situation. So yeah, that's kind of what that is, Cam. He had to sign 3 more slips, and I'm out of the building with Bad Boy, and he didn't do that courtesy of him being on trial.
What was the most surprising thing you seen when you went there?
Looking at his sons, it really wasn't Quincy. I'm gonna start there. Looking at Quincy looked at me just like, Quincy really brainwashed. Quincy has been around Diddy since he was a child, and Quincy is actually Albie Show's son. He looked at me and was just like, wow. Justin, that little cornball, he looked at me and was like, fuck you. And then Christian, he just was there. Christian don't know no better. That's Kim's son. And he looked at me just more like, man, the fuck, right? It was actually jury duty, right? So I watched the jury duty. I didn't actually watch the trial, but I wanted to go up there. I got paid to go up there, but I wanted to go up there myself and be like, I'm in the building, because I can't be the type of person to speak on Diddy on platforms and not be able to face him.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming.
Okay, so that's the end of that, but I thought that was interesting. Very, very interesting. So I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of a quick and brief overview, as well as a little bit of education, because over here, it's all about us knowing more about the judicial system. I don't do fluff. I try to stay away from all the gossip, because there's a lot of other channels who are doing more than enough gossip on Beyonce's internet. And I have no interest in it, because I feel like this is right up there with like the O.J. Simpson trial, like as far as a monumental moment, a historical moment for the entertainment industry, as well as for African American people. And I hate saying African American because I don't believe there's such a thing. I believe we're all African, but just for conversational purposes, I will say African American. But it is a monumental moment in time. So I just don't want to do the fluff, because regardless of how we are led by listening to the testimony on direct or on cross-examination, whether you believe that Diddy is innocent or guilty, everyone in the United States of America has the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. That is a foundational right for every single American or permanent resident alien. Okay. So as we know, they continued with the ex-assistant Mia's testimony. And as we know, Mia is appearing under a pseudonym, which means she's basically anonymous. And she has alleged that Diddy raped her and subjected her to ongoing abuse during her 8-year tenure with his organization. Mia described a coercive environment where she was manipulated and isolated, leading to complex PTSD. She also recounted instances of physical violence, including alleged rape in Combs's Los Angeles home, being forced into unwanted sexual acts with Diddy. As far as the defense, they did do their best to challenge Mia's credibility during cross-examination. Attorney Brian Steele presented social media posts and messages where Mia praised Diddy, referring to him as a mentor and a friend. Mia explained that these posts were a facade, kind of keeping up an image because she was still employed by him. This was a part of her job to protect his public image. She couldn't outright just come out and say like, oh my God, this happened to me. This has been happening and this and this and that. She wanted to keep her job. She loves the industry of entertainment. This is the industry that she wanted to be in. For instance, I worked in healthcare staffing for 20 plus years. And, I've had bosses that were inappropriate. I mean, I had a boss one time, one of my bosses, actually an owner of an organization that I worked for, he slept with everybody. It was just like, it got to the point where like they were twins. And I'm not going to use any names, but the owners were twins. One of them was kind of like a businessman, ex-WWE promoter. And the other one was a emergency medicine doctor. And the ex-WWE promoter guy hooked up with a younger employee. And, they are still together to this day, but it was still inappropriate. She was an employee at the time that their relationship began. But like I said, they're still together to this day. And she, I believe, is 18 or 19 years younger than he is, which is a bit problematic, power dynamic, control, all of that. But as I stated, they're still together and appear to be very happy. The other owner of the company that I worked for, the ER doctor, he slept with everybody. He worked shifts, right? We had contracts and hospitals that we worked with in multiple states. I think at the time we had over 250 states. And I managed the inpatient side, the hospitalist group. Okay? That's like when you're admitted to the hospital and there's a doctor that sees you every day and they round on you every day. And you generally see like the same doctor for at least 7 days. If you're in the hospital longer than 7 days, then you'll see another doctor, because our hospitalist and most hospitalists work 7 on, 7 off, 14 days a month. And that's just their regular rotation. We also, in many cases, managed the inpatient as well as the ER. in places where we managed both and in places where we managed either or, the ED doctor would work. And let me tell you, he slept with all of the nurses. He slept with people in administration. He slept with people in clerical position. He slept with people in the dialysis clinics. It was just disgusting. It got so bad to the point where we were like, you know what? If Dr. So-and-so is going to so-and-so hospital, if he's going to AB hospital, let's not schedule, I'm going to say Pam the nurse, because we knew that they were, you know, sneaking off and freaking off, which was an inappropriate, inappropriate situation. So let's kind of save both of them from themselves. But it got really, really hectic. So I say all of that to say there are men outside of like the Diddy sphere, probably not as powerful or rich, that exhibit the same exact behavior. So it's not uncommon, right? But looking at the Diddy trial and thinking about that doctor, I'm like, wow, that's basically the same thing that Dr. So-and-so did. He utilized his position as an owner to, get in people's pants. And some of those nurses were open to letting him get in their pants because they thought it would lead to more money. They thought it would lead to less shifts and more money and potentially an opportunity to climb the corporate ladder. You know what I'm saying? But he was sowing his royal oats. And let me tell you, it was just ridiculous. We had hospitals in California. Lisa said what? We had, what is it? I can't remember the names of the hospitals. I'm gonna have to look for a list. We worked with a lot of ARH hospitals. I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want y'all to figure out which company it was. But they sold, so that's good. But I mean, we've all had those bosses who may have made uncomfortable advances. I've had those bosses. So it's not unrealistic to me that I'm not looking at Mia like, oh, she's lying. I'm not looking at her like, oh, her testimony is trash because why did she stay? People have bills to pay. People have family to feed, things of that nature. How can you just up and leave your livelihood? And then, like I said, I worked 20 plus years in the staffing industry. When I had inappropriate interactions with bosses in the past, I never was like, oh, I'm just going to quit. I was Ray Charles to them. I didn't pay them no mind. I paid them dust. Okay? I would hear them make the advance and I would just act like I didn't hear them. I was blind, deaf, and just dumb. I know they was probably like, what's wrong with her? But seriously, I had bills to pay and I had a career path and, a resume that I was working on and building. So it's not unheard of for a woman or a man to continue working for somebody who is basically sexually harassing them or worse. It's not, so I understand Brian Steele is doing his job by presenting the post and, kind of making a counter narrative to what the government presented. But it's just, to me, it's lackluster. It's not really realistic in today's world and time. or even in the olden days and time. So, I mean, I don't know. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, the allegations of violence against Cassie Ventura. Mia testified about witnessing Combs physically assault the singer, including an incident where he allegedly beat her until she bled. These accounts align with previous testimonies, okay, and evidence presented in the trial. Now, this is the thing. And I remember, I think it was my grandmother or probably my mother would say, like, you can believe that, like, maybe two people are lying. But when you have like 7 or 8 people, everybody's not lying. Like, everybody's not lying. Everybody isn't lying. And I honestly believe up until this point with Mia, the defense has not really done a good job, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, to discredit many, except for Dawn Richards. So Dawn Richards and Mia are the only two testimonies where I feel that the defense has really done I shouldn't even say done a good job. Well, at least made an effort, I will say, to discredit those testimonies. Let's see. What else? Okay, so also in recent news, President Trump's remarks on a potential pardon at a White House news conference, President Donald Trump stated he would consider a pardon for Combs if he believed the music mogul was mistreated, regardless of personal feelings. He acknowledged that the trial is receiving significant coverage, but noted he hasn't been following it closely. I'm going to call bull sugar honey iced tea. I believe that he is paying attention to it, not because I believe that he plans to pardon Diddy. I just believe that he's paying attention to it, as is just about a whole lot of other people. And I'm not saying that he pays intently intensified attention to it, aside from running the country. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is he probably gets briefs on what happened during the day, what the testimony looks like, what does the government truly have as far as evidence, things of that nature. Now, for those of you who are wondering if Trump can actually pardon Diddy, Donald Trump has the ability as the president of the United States to pardon Sean P. Diddy Combs right now. He can get up on Monday morning, issue a pardon, and the trial will be over. He will be a free man. After his conviction, Donald Trump can go ahead and issue a pardon and Diddy will be released. So yes, the president of the United States can pardon someone who is currently on federal trial, even before a conviction has been reached. Key points to note, guys: presidential pardon power comes from Article 2, Section 2 of the United States Constitution. It applies only to federal offenses, not state cases. The pardon can be issued at any point before any charges are filed, during a trial, or after conviction. The most famous example is President General Ford pardoning Richard Nixon in 1974, even though Nixon had not been formally charged with a crime. Important considerations. A pardon does not imply innocence. It simply removes legal consequences. It may effectively terminate a federal trial as the charges are wiped out. A communication is different from a pardon, erasing the legal offense. Now, we're going to get a little bit into the weeds with the law here, guys, because I want to make sure that we are all fully educated and aware of the charges in Diddy's indictment and some of the items charged and what they mean, so that as we listen to the testimony, as we look at evidence and exhibits, and I still need to post some of the exhibits on my community wall, which I will do before Monday. But as we go through all of these testimonies, I want us all to bear in mind what the charges are and what they mean exactly, okay? Now, Diddy is charged with the Mann Act. What is the Mann Act? The Mann Act, officially titled the White Slave Traffic Act of 1910, is a United States federal law aimed at combating human trafficking and prostitution. Now, here's a breakdown of its purpose, history, and impact. The purpose and original intent of the Mann Act. The Mann Act was enacted to prohibit the transportation of women across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. And I'm emphasizing state lines, because if you guys recall in Cassie's testimony, she testified that some of these S workers that her and Diddy saw, some of them were in LA, some of them were in Miami, some of them were in New York. Okay? Now, the Mann Act was also enacted for debauchery or any other immoral purposes. It also addresses growing concerns in the early 20th century about white slavery, a term used at the time to describe the alleged coercion of white women into prostitution. Here are a few key provisions of the Mann Act. The Mann Act makes it a federal crime to transport individuals across state lines for the purposes of engaging in illegal sexual activities. Remember, Cassie's testimony indicated that there were many times, multiple occasions, that she did not want to be involved in FOs. That she was either abused or given some form of intoxicant by Diddy in order to continue on with performing. Originally focused only on women, but has been amended to be gender neutral. The Mann Act applies even if the transportation is consensual, depending on the nature of the act and intent. That's very key. That's very key. Initially, Cassie testified and said that, when he asked me for an FO, I agreed to it because I wanted to do it. I wanted to make him happy. Okay? The federal government, in the case of the United States versus Sean Diddy Combs, has charged him with the Mann Act. So I want you guys to really understand that. This is a part of his indictment. This is a part of the case. Amendments and modern use of the Mann Act. The language has been updated to reflect modern standards. For example, in 1986, Congress removed the vague term immoral purpose and clarified it to focus on illegal sexual activities, such as prostitution or sexual exploitation. Additionally, still used today in cases of sex trafficking, including involving minors or coerced individuals. All right? Controversy and abuse of the Mann Act. Historically, the Mann Act was sometimes misused for political or personal reasons. Examples of that: black boxer Jock Jackson was infamously prosecuted under the Mann Act in 1913 for transporting a white woman across state lines in a case many viewed as racially and politically motivated. Modern relevance of the Mann Act. The Mann Act continues to be enforced, often in conjunction with newer anti-trafficking laws. It remains an important legal tool in combating sex trafficking, protecting sexual exploitation of minors, and preventing coerced prostitution. Now that we have a better understanding of what the Mann Act is, its origins, the updates, and some of its notable cases, such as Jock Johnson, let's get into what RICO means, because Diddy is also being charged by the Southern District of New York with the RICO Act. The RICO Act stands for Racketeering Influence in Corrupt Organizations Act. It was passed in 1970 as a part of the Organized Crime Control Act to combat organized crime in the United States. The purpose of RICO RICO is designed to target criminal organizations by making it illegal to acquire, operate, or receive income from an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, allowing leaders of a criminal organization to be prosecuted for crimes they ordered or assisted in, even if they didn't directly commit them. Racketeering activity includes, under the RICO Act, racketeering activity can include a broad range of crimes, such as unaliving. I'm just going to say napping, bribery, drug trafficking, extortion, money laundering, mail and wire fraud, human trafficking, or prostitution related offenses. And are y'all still with me? Because sometimes I lose y'all when I get into the law. I know sometimes I lose y'all. And I know I lose y'all sometimes when I get into the law. I want y'all to pay close attention because this is important. Why is this important? It's important because your ignorance of the law will not save you if you get yourself jammed up. If you get yourself jammed up and you are ignorant of the law, you cannot say, well, I didn't know that. You will still be charged, you will still be tried, and you will still run the risk of being convicted and sentenced under whatever statute that you're found guilty of. Okay? And critically, violations of the Mann Act can also qualify as racketeering activities under RICO. Did y'all hear what I just said? Remember, I just shared with you what the Mann Act means, its origins, the modern use, and all of that. The government has charged Diddy with the Mann Act as well as RICO. They connect with each other in this case, per the government, per the Southern District of New York. Okay? Connection between the Mann Act and RICO. The Mann Act and the RICO Act are linked in the following way. If someone violates the Mann Act, for example, transporting someone across state lines for prostitution or sexual exploitation as a part of a pattern, and it's connected to a criminal enterprise, it can be prosecuted under RICO. This allows federal prosecutors to target entire networks or organizations, not just individual traffickers. For example, here's a scenario, guys. Imagine a sex trafficking ring that transports women across state lines for prostitution, right? That's a Mann Act violation. Let's say they actually launder money from illegal activities, right? Let's say they use threats and or violence to maintain control. I hope y'all are listening to me. Listen to me very carefully. Let's say they use threats and or violence to maintain control. There's a reason why I'm reading this out to you guys right now, because I want you to understand that the Southern District of New York is playing chess, not checkers. This is why I keep saying that Diddy, his defense team, needs to step up their game. They need to get in the game. I understand that they're not presenting their case in chief. They're simply doing their cross-examination. But to me, they have not been doing their best. There is a lot of evidence by way of testimony. For those of you who do not know, testimony is considered evidence. Okay? Testimony, when someone goes up on that stand and raises their right hand and says, I will tell the truth, so help me God, that is considered evidence. It's not just somebody telling a story. In a court of law, it is considered actual evidence that the jury can utilize to come to a final decision. Okay, so this organization can be charged under RICO for engaging in a pattern of racketeering activity, including Mann Act violations, and everyone involved in the enterprise can be held accountable, even if they only played a small role. Now, why does this matter? Does anybody in the comments right now know why this matters? Put it in the chat if you know why it matters. If you're catching this on the replay, let me know, do you know why it matters? I'm going to give you a few minutes. Let me see. Let me check the live chat real quick because I haven't looked at the chat in a minute. Why does it matter? Lisa, hey, Crystal. Why does it matter? You're a little late, but it's okay. I'm happy to see you. Better late than never, my love. Y'all be sure to hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Why does it matter, guys? I'm going to tell you why it matters. RICO adds serious penalties, longer sentences, asset forfeiture, and the ability to bring civil lawsuits. It's a powerful tool for dismantling complex criminal networks, especially those involved in human trafficking or organized sex crimes. Certainly, here are some real-life examples of cases when RICO and the Mann Act were used together, especially in the context of sex trafficking and organized crime. Y'all ready? The United States versus Masood Khan, 2012. Masood Khan and several associates. And what happened? Khan ran a multi-state human trafficking ring that smuggled women from overseas, primarily Central America, to the U.S. Victims were forced into prostitution and moved across state lines. Charges. He was charged with the Mann Act violations, interstate transport for prostitution, as well as RICO for running a criminal enterprise with a pattern of sex trafficking and forced labor. I'm going to read that again. RICO charged for running a criminal enterprise with a pattern of sex trafficking and forced labor. Mia, that was on the stand on Thursday and Friday, she recounted a time when she initially started with Diddy that she worked for 5 days straight and did not go to sleep until he told her it was okay to do so. Does that sound like forced labor to you guys? If you're a manager or a boss and your employee lives in your home and they're producing all of the reports and all this stuff and videos and posting social media posts, it would kind of dawn on you at some point in time that, wait a minute, when did they clock out? Hold on. That if you've ever had a job and they're like, oh no, you can't work past 11 p.m. You can't work 11:01 because that's going to be OT. You're going to have to clock out right at 11 and just stop. Wherever you leave off, just stop. Because most companies are very conscious of making sure that they don't violate any labor laws and they don't fall under any categories of forced labor. And I remember being in the healthcare field, it would be frowned upon for a nurse or a doctor to need to do their documentation at the end of their shift and clock out and then finish their work. That's against the law. We would tell, because everything is time-stamped. Everything will be timestamped, just like emails are, just like text messages are, just like social media posts are. Everything is timestamped. And anytime I would see a doctor that worked 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but their dictation for a particular patient came in at 9 p.m. as being, completed as 9, I would immediately call that doctor like, why is your dictation coming in at 9 p.m.? You're supposed to be off shift and you actually logged out. You signed off, but your dictation came in at 9. Are you working off the clock? That's illegal. Don't ever do that again. You need to do better time, man. Let me tell you something. I would read those doctors the riot acts. When I managed inpatient hospitalist groups, I had 250 internal medicine, a mixture actually of internal medicine as well as family practice physicians reporting directly to me. I handled their schedule. I handled their payroll. Of course, I had a team, but I still had to have oversight of all of it, right? But I did their payroll myself. I always did their payroll myself because we would pay our doctors like incentives and bonuses, and only I knew the bonuses and incentives that I needed to be paid out. So I would prepare their payroll and send it to corporate for them to cut the check. But anytime I would see a doctor and their clock out time didn't match their dictation time, that was a big problem. That opened up the company to liability. So I had to actually address it immediately. I don't care what time it was. I would be either emailing or texting like, listen, Dr. Velasquez, I see that you dictated this note on Jane Doe and it was logged by the transcription team at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but your shift ended at 7. I checked the time clock and see that you clocked out at 7 p.m. This is unacceptable. I would actually advise them, if you have work to do, you have to keep the clock running. You cannot clock out and finish your work. You must continue. And for future reference, you need to practice better time management. You should be seeing your patient and doing your documentation immediately after that patient. And if you want to bulk do your documentation, see 5 patients, document those 5 and continue rounding and then document the rest. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah. the outcome of Masood Khan's case, Khan received a lengthy federal prison sentence. The next case that I want to talk to you about is the United States versus Raniere. NXIVM, the NXIVM case. Keith Raniere, leader of the NXIVM cult. What happened? NXIVM was marketed as a self-help group, but functioned as a SMEX cult. Raniere coerced women into sexual relationships, and some were moved across state lines. Victims were blackmailed. Let me say that again. Victims were blackmailed. What did Cassie say? What did her mother testify to too? What did Cassie say? And what did Mia say? And what did Deontay Nash say, y'all? What did Mia say? What did Deontay Nash say? Or what did Cassie say? And what did Cassie's mother say? Why did Cassie's mother take out that money to pay Diddy? Does anybody remember that testimony? Wasn't it because Diddy had threatened to share a sexually explicit video of Cassie around Christmas time? Okay. Let's continue. Y'all think that the government is not cooking. The government is cooking. The government is making a Thanksgiving meal. All of these vloggers out here like, oh, Diddy gonna get off? He's in a lot of trouble, y'all. Diddy is in a lot of trouble. The Southern District of New York is cooking. The chefs are in the kitchen. Let's continue. Victims, I'm just going to say it one more time for good measure. Victims were blackmailed and branded as a part of a secret inner circle called DOS. What charges did the federal government hit Keith Raniere with? Number one, the Mann Act. Mann Act violations, transporting women for illegal SMEX acts. They also charged Keith Raniere with RICO charges. NXIVM was treated as a criminal enterprise, and the abuses were a part of a racketeering pattern. Everybody, every single employee, to include Cassie, because everybody keeps saying, oh, Cassie was his girlfriend. That was his girlfriend. Cassie signed a 10-contract agreement with Bad Boy Records when she met Diddy. There was an agreement. She was employed. She was employed by the organization. I don't care if they started dating on paper and in the eyes of the law, she was an employee as well. Okay? What was the outcome of Keith Raniere's case? Raniere was sentenced to 120 years in prison in 2020. The third case that I want to bring to you guys is the United States versus Backpage Executives. This case is ongoing, okay? This is an ongoing case. Executives from Backpage.com, a classifieds website. Well, what happened? This website was accused of knowingly facilitating sex trafficking, including of minors. Some of the activity involved cross-state movement of victims, making it a Mann Act issue. What charges are these executives facing? RICO. Charges for running a business that profited from organized criminal activity, including prostitution and sex trafficking. Mann Act charges for facilitating and promoting sex trafficking across state lines. As far as the outcome of this case, the website Back's page was seized by the federal government in 2018. Some executives pled guilty. Others are still facing charges. Okay? Give me a second, y'all. I got one more case for you guys because I really got to make it very clear and concise. And like, you know, everybody needs to understand what is going on right now. The government is cooking and people are not even paying attention to the chefs in the kitchen. Like, come on now. Give me a second, guys. One moment. All right, I'm back, guys. I'm back. Thank you so much for your patience. I had to step away real quick because I had to take care of a little housekeeping items. Welcome, welcome all. If you're catching this on the replay, please be sure to go ahead and tap in as soon as you walk in the building. If you're here in the room and you haven't already tapped in, please do me a favor, hit that like button. That really, really, truly supports the channel. Additionally, if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing today. Be sure to set your notifications to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. My goal is to definitely grow this channel. We're almost at 500 subs. So help me get there, guys. Once we get over that 500 hump, 1,000, here we come. You know, we just gonna keep on marching. 1,000, here we come. Okay. Now, the next case that I want to share with you is a gang case. MS-13 and other street gangs. Numerous gangs and trafficking rings have been charged under RICO when they, number one, run organized prostitution rings, recruited minors or women under false pretenses, moved victims across state lines. That's a Mann Act issue. Again, I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. Cassie stated that she would see certain experience creators, the what are they called? Escorts. There was one they would see when they were in Miami. They had to travel from New York to Miami, okay? They would see one when they were in LA. They had to travel from Miami to LA and, back any travel associated with these encounters, that is a Mann Act issue. That is a Mann Act issue. Now, y'all tell me the government isn't cooking. Because somebody tell me that the government is not cooking. If you're here in the chat right now, do you believe that they are cooking a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner? What kind of dinner is the government making right now? Because I'm telling you, they are laying it out by way of testimony and exhibits to be like it's a smorgasbord that they're putting out there right now. Use violence or threats to maintain control. I'm going to read that again. Used violence or threats to maintain control. These cases often use RICO plus the Mann Act together to dismantle the entire gang's structure. Now, a little bit about the case as far as where we stand right now. We're still in the midst of it. We're at day 13. And the government, as I said, I think is doing a spectacular job of laying it out there. They're putting it down. And let me just tell y'all, like, the jury does not have to pick it all up right now because it's kind of like information overload. Okay. Right now, it's a lot of information overload. The good thing on the government side is that a lot of the information is being duplicated as the witnesses take the stand. The abuse, the coercion, the forced labor, a lot of that information is a reoccurring thing. So that's a good thing, right? It's going to be the closing argument to clinch this thing, to put this entire buffet together for the jury to take back to the deliberation room to consider Diddy's faith. Now, the alleged predicate acts in the Southern District of New York is RICO. Okay? And for RICO, well, one of the charges, I should say, is RICO, right? And under the RICO statute, the government must prove that the defendant the government must prove that the defendant committed at least 2 predicate acts of racketeering activity within a 10-year period. Okay? Now, in Diddy's case, the indictment and the trial proceedings have highlighted several alleged predicate acts: sex trafficking and forced labor. Prosecutors alleged that Combs orchestrated events known as freak-offs, where victims were coerced into drug-fueled sexual activities, sometimes involving multiple participants. These events were allegedly facilitated by Combs's staff and arranged travel accommodations and provided drugs. The Mann Act is also something that they have charged Diddy with. Combs is accused of transporting individuals across state lines for the purpose of engaging in prostitution, including arranging for male sex workers to travel for these events. You realize that is covered under the Mann Act, even with the male sex workers. Bribery and obstruction of justice. The prosecution has introduced allegations that Combs engaged in bribery and attempted to obstruct justice to protect the enterprise and its activities. I'm going to say napping, but y'all put a kid in front of it, okay? Napping and arson. Testimony included claims that Combs was involved in napping and arson incidents, including the alleged firebombing of Kid Cudi's car. Now, I just want y'all to understand where we are at with this thing. The government is laying out their case. The government is doing a very good job. And I am excited to see what next week brings. I'm extremely excited, guys. I hope you are as excited as I am. Again, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing today. Be sure to set your notifications to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. And I'm going to wrap this up. That's all that I wanted to share with you. Well, tonight, I should say this morning, this afternoon, or night, based on wherever you're tuning in from, or based on whenever you catch the replay. Thank you so much, guys, for being here in the live chat. Crystal, thank you. Lisa says what? Bush babies, I see you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, y'all. Let's get it. Let me play us out of here with my original non-copywritten channel music. Guys, please be sure to hit the like button on your way out. Until next time, you guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Later.